everybody, my name's Melissa and welcome back to my writing channel, Hopeful Happenings. Today we're talking about how to write the first draft of your novel. Last week we talked about how to write an outline using Save the Cat. And this week we're going to put that outline into action. Along with your outline, you should have also already created some kind of character profile sheet for your main characters, as well as a setting research sheet. If you haven't done that yet and you need some help, I have some free templates for you to take. They're just on my website and I'll link it down below. Personally, I think the first draft is the hardest to write because a lot of people give up before they're even done. But you have the advantage. You are not going to do that. You've already created your outline. From start to finish, you know in bullet point form what this story is about and how it will end. But on top of that, I do have 5 tips for you in creating a successful first draft. So number 1, pick a time that you can commit to consistently writing until the first draft is done. This time frame should not be longer than 3 months. Stephen King was the first person I heard to give that information out, that tip about writing your first draft in 3 months. So I actually tried it, and yes, he is 100% correct. The reason for that is if it's longer than 3 months, you lose the momentum. From experience, I know that to be true because my first book, I took years to write the first draft, and that's why it was so hard to edit, because I had jumbled up ideas, I had a different personality like a year later. All of those things contributed to a very difficult second draft and third draft and fourth draft. It was just a lot of extra work. I think the biggest threat to writing a book is losing that momentum and not finishing your first draft. So this is going to help you finish within 3 months. Now, number 2, break the work down into daily writing goals. This is especially important because you have committed now to writing your book in 3 months. And it may seem like a long time, but time passes quickly. And if you don't have a plan, then you won't have enough time to write every single day. Every day counts. Now, some people track their progress by word counts. They do a daily word count, like, oh, I'm gonna write 2,000 words today. This is a helpful method if you know how long your book is going to be. For example, if you want to write a young adult, well, the industry standard for a young adult is around 70 to 90,000 words. So let's say I want to hit 70,000 words and I've got to write it within 3 months. That means 70,000 divided by 90 days, because 3 months, will equal about 800 words a day. Honestly, 800 words a day is not that much. It's about 3 pages double spaced. But that's if you write every single day. There could be days you don't want to work, perhaps Sundays or Saturdays and Sundays, or you'll be traveling. All of those things you'll have to put into account as you make your daily goal calendar. Sometimes, at least in my own experience, I have found myself writing extra just to fill the word count, and it's fluffy, it's not necessary, and I'll end up deleting it later. And of course, first drafts are rough anyway, but that is a con that I've noticed. Another way that you can break down your daily writing target is by using your outline. I've done this before with my most recent novel. I did it during NaNoWriMo, so I wrote the entire book in a month, and it was actually very helpful. What I mean by using your outline to help your daily writing goal is instead of using a word count that you want to hit every day, you'll be hitting a certain section of your outline. For example, day 1, I'm going to write up the setup. And then I don't really have a number of pages that I need to have or a number of words I need to have. All I know is I'm going to write until the setup is done. Then the next day, I'm going to write until I've done the entire inciting incident. The next day, I'm going to write until the entire midpoint is done, or whatever. That way, you accomplish writing your book by doing it in sections of the outline. Now, the con to doing this method is that you can underwrite because you're doing it by sections, you're not really keeping track of your total goal, so you could end up being a lot shorter than expected, and that's what happened to me. I wrote a middle grade novel at the time using that method, and I was several thousand words short, but the bonus, I got it all done in a month. It was the fastest I've ever written a book. So that leaves me with method number 3, which I feel is probably the best method so far that I've tried, and that is combining method 1 and method 2. I will write my first draft with daily writing goals using my outline. That way I can accomplish sections of the story at a time, the entire inciting incident, the entire midpoint, the entire scene of despair and darkness, and the climax and all that. They're going in sections. However, I do also keep a good eye on my word count and figure out what my daily word count should be. I don't follow it exactly because I know that different sections of the novel will require different, lengths, but I do have that on my calendar as to what kind of daily word count I should be meeting, so that by the end I'm pretty close to what a standard novel would be in that industry, whether it's middle grade, young adult, or adult. Number 3 tip for writing a first draft is to eliminate distractions. Distractions at your workplace, like clutter, other people, noise. Perhaps you're the kind of person who does not like any noise and they just like to be in their own little cave. Other people need to have noise. They need to have other people around, like writing in a coffee shop. Figure out what is a distraction to you and take it out. Other ideas for distractions is food. If it will be a distraction for you to want to go up to the kitchen and get a snack every 10 minutes, then have some snacks on your desk where you're writing. If you are going to go up and get a drink every 10 minutes, have a water bottle or hot chocolate that you like to drink with you. Go to the bathroom before you start writing so you don't have to worry about that once you sit down and put your fingers on the keyboard. Number 4, write without worry. You have to write this draft without being a perfectionist. Don't reread what you write. It will change everything if you do so. You're going to want to fix things, you're going to see flaws, you're going to change your mind. No, this is the first draft. This needs to be done. That's the biggest threat to a first draft, is that it won't finish. Get the story down on paper. It is going to be horrible. It's going to be a mess of everything. Just get it down. And I will say also that if you change your mind about something, that's okay. Just start where you are and make it different. Don't go back and fix anything. For example, I was writing a book once in the perspective of third person, and then halfway through I decided I wanted it to be first person. And so I just started halfway through the novel writing the rest in first person, and I think I might have even switched a couple different times going back and forth. I did not go back and reread or fix the first half so that it was all the same perspective. No, I would do that in a later draft. The first draft was a mixture of perspectives, but I got it done, and that's the important part. My number 5 tip is to write to your whims. Even if you have an outline, you may realize as you're writing that the story needs to take a different path. As I just said, this happened to me before, and that's okay. Also, you may have whims of when to write. So even though you'll have a daily schedule of how many word counts you want a day or what piece of the outline you want to accomplish today, you may find that, hey, I want to keep writing. I've beat my goal already and I just want to keep going. Do it. Follow that whim. Go with the flow. You'll have a lot better writing if you are in that mood of just wanting to write than if you force yourself to write when you're really not in the mood. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are 5 tips for writing a first draft. A couple bonus tips here if you'd like. You can get a writing buddy to help you be accountable. You can do writing sprints by yourself or with others, which is where you write really fast for a short amount of time, take a break, and then write really fast for a short amount of time. Those things happen on Instagram or YouTube, so you can just find some authors who are doing those. Another bonus tip is to set up a reward system for yourself so that when you accomplish certain goals, you can get some kind of prize. Thanks for watching. I post once a week on YouTube and I post daily on Instagram, sharing more writing tips there and giving you insight onto my middle grade fantasy coming out called Sea of Kings, which you can actually pre-order now from Barnes & Noble, Jellyfish Press, and Indigo Chapters. We'll see you next week with how to write your second draft. Bye.